Live from the Western Mass News Studios in Springfield, this is Better Western Mass.
All right, everybody, welcome to Better Western Mass here on this Tuesday afternoon. Time now about 12:30, and we got to talk about the weather we're experiencing outside. This morning it was a bit icy. Now, well, it's a bit of a 180. It's not too bad, but then there could be stuff coming again, so we're back to another 180. Dan Brown, I got my scorecard out. I'm trying to keep track. I can't. You take it away.
All right, here we go. Of course, this morning we did start, Taylor, with icy spots, right? That pretty much has gone by the boards. I mean, the temperatures are near 40 in a lot of spots now, and we do have some rain showers moving in for this afternoon. Real low impact here. It will make roads just wet more than anything. Might there be a few slippery spots in the hills? There could, but even that is not going to be a big deal. I'm jumping ahead to the weekend because that's when our next storm system is going to arrive, and this is just one of our particular models that I'm looking at. This is for Saturday now. Notice how we're dry Saturday morning. At some point during the morning on Saturday, it looks as though moisture is going to move in, and there might be just enough cold air at the onset that we could be talking about a wintry mix for a few hours Saturday morning. But you know what? If it holds off, it's going to be rain, and by the time it moves into the afternoon, it'll be rain anyway. This area of low pressure is going to more or less track to our west, and we know when storms track to our west, that helps to bring in milder air. So Saturday, if anything, it'll be kind of a nasty day the way it looks now, but temperatures will come up into the lower 40s, and it's generally a rainstorm for us. A wintry mix over to some rainfall, probably like a moderate-sized situation, not a major storm, and then we dry out in time for your Sunday. And right now, Sunday, I may be a bit optimistic with our 50-degree reading, but I think we have outside shot at 50 tomorrow, and then an outside shot at 50 Sunday. Now, keep in mind, Sunday's still several days away, but obviously, just by looking at this, the better of the two weekend days is shaping up to be Sunday. And by the way, that happens to be the last day of February as well. So we start meteorological springtime coming up on Monday, March 1st. So for today, we just have some rain showers, a few wet snowflakes in the hills. Most of the time this afternoon, it's not going to be doing a whole lot, but it'll get a little bit unsettled with temps a little bit over 40. We'll dry it out tonight. I think we dry out pretty quickly here, so we won't have the icy concerns that we did this morning. Maybe just a few icy spots early tomorrow, and then we'll well up into the 40s. And then that rain shower chance tomorrow doesn't come until tomorrow night. That's the leading edge of colder air for Thursday and Friday. Plenty of sunshine both those days, but we'll have more of that wintry feel for those 2 days before that system moves in on Saturday. All right, that's your forecast, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow morning. Jenna Brown's in at 4 o'clock with an update. We'll see you then.
All right, Dan, thanks for that. Well, this half hour, we're also taking more of your vaccine-related questions to the experts. So we're turning over to Dr. John O'Reilly, the Chief of Pediatrics over there at Bay State Health. Hey there, Dr. O'Reilly, welcome back. So got some good questions to throw your way here. The first one goes like this. Why are type 1 diabetics not included in phase 2 of the state's vaccine rollout plan? This is from Gail.
Well, Gail, that's a great question, and the answer doesn't have anything to do with how serious a disease type 1 diabetes is, because it's a very serious disease. It has to do more with the methodology of the CDC, and since the state is following the CDC, that's who they follow. So basically, there's about 35 million people in the U.S. that have diabetes. 90 to 95% of them have type 2 diabetes, which is a metabolic disease associated with obesity. And we know obesity is already a risk factor for COVID. So when they were monitoring patients coming in, they recognized that lots of the patients with type 2 diabetes were getting sick. Now, type 1 diabetes is really an autoimmune disease, not related to body habitus and not really related directly to COVID either. So there's smaller numbers of people. There weren't as many admissions for them to prove on a scientific basis that it was a risk factor. So they're in the might be at risk. But again, people with diabetes, if they get sick, their blood sugars are off. And people with type 1 diabetes can get underlying heart disease and kidney disease, which is what is attacked by the COVID virus. So be really careful if you have type 1 diabetes. And again, for all of us, really, with these new variants, we all have to be careful. So whether you have diabetes or not, we've got to redouble our efforts for mask wearing, hand washing, social distancing, crowds. So we got to put down our sugary drinks, put up our masks, and let's stay healthy till we get vaccinated.
Yeah, not the time to get complacent, as this show's been providing weekly advice on. All right, so how about this? Does the condition of having cancer to qualify for the vaccine include people in remission but not considered cured? This is from Michael.
Well, Michael, they call cancer the emperor of all maladies, and there's many types of cancer, and there's many patients with cancer. So there's a lot of individual decisions there. And I would sort of ask everyone to talk to their oncologist and say, what is my risk? And actually write a letter so that they can say they do need qualification for the vaccine. But I think about it in general terms that to get to remission, a cancer patient has already been through perhaps chemotherapy, radiation therapy, surgery, immunotherapy, all of which would probably put that person in a situation where they might get sicker with COVID-19. So we need to protect them from what they've been through. And we also have to protect them because they're in remission. They're not quite a cure, and we need to keep them healthy in case cancer comes back. So if you get COVID-19 and it damages your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, your immune system, well, your oncologist is not going to be as aggressive as they could be. So if there is a recurrence. So we need to keep you healthy. Another great reason to get vaccinated. So if you're in remission, jump for joy, jump out of your couch, jump online, talk to your oncologist, get the vaccine, protect yourself, and we can all go on that journey to cure.
All right, then the final one here, we got like a minute left. Does vaccine dosage change depending on, let's say, a person's weight? For example, does a 100-pound woman get the same amount as a 200-pound woman? This is from Amanda.
Well, Amanda, it's a great question, and one doctors were really worried about because we know that flu vaccine and other vaccines are not as effective in obese patients. So when they designed these COVID trials, they made sure that they got significant amounts of patients in the trials with obesity and overweight and really could monitor them. And they have enough of that data to say for sure that obesity does not impact the vaccine. So you can go ahead and get the regular dose of vaccine. Now, all of us want to have an increased immune response. We want to get as much as we can out of the vaccine. So whether you're obese or not, exercise might be helpful to you. So if you know when your date is, get up, get moving, get a program of walking or something going, walk to that vaccine site. So when you're standing in line, your immune system is strong and ready to respond to that vaccine.
All right. Well, Gail, Michael, and Amanda, hope that Dr. John O'Reilly was able to answer your questions there. I'd say you got an A, at least if I'm the professor in this mad game here. Dr. John O'Reilly, take care. We'll no doubt have more of your insight in the coming days. Be well. All right. And remember, everybody at home, we want to bring more of your vaccine questions to the experts. We are your vaccine authority. So having something you want to ask the doctors, just send an email over to vax@westernmassnews.com. And yeah, you could get your question asked on the air, vax@westernmassnews.com. Coming up on Better, we're learning about the state of small businesses run by people of color. It's all right after this. Don't miss it. All right, so the coronavirus pandemic has affected small businesses around the world, but it hasn't affected all small businesses equally. A new report coming from Facebook and also the Small Business Roundtable shows that minority-owned businesses have been disproportionately affected with higher closure rates and then also lost sales. So here to break it all down and share some important information on how to support small businesses, we have Irene Walker, the program director for Facebook Elevate. Irene, welcome to the show. So I guess just right off the bat, what is the state of small business right now, especially in minority communities?
Well, all small businesses are suffering, but as we all know and we've heard, and we've just launched a U.S. State of Small Business report, we're seeing that minority businesses are disproportionately affected. It's almost like they're living a pandemic within a pandemic. We're seeing that they're not able to cover rents, that they're losing employees, that their doors have had to been closed many times, and sales are falling. 70% of them are showing a decline in sales, and 36% of minority businesses closed down in comparison with 22% of non-minority businesses. So needless to say, the financial and emotional burdens on them are enormous.
Wow, yeah, and then when you factor in wealth gaps from before the pandemic, and that just compounds right there and creates a further disparity. So very interesting there. So how can then we at home, the consumer, help out these small businesses?
Yeah, we've heard that question quite often, and we say shop Black. Look for local businesses. Try to explore new ones that may be popping up in your community. Just this past month, we launched collections on Facebook Shop and also on Instagram Shop on mobile with over 80 different Black-owned businesses that you can now explore and discover. And then also we say that you can offer free marketing by following some of those businesses on social media. Follow them, like them, share with them, engage with them. We see daily connections happening between businesses on Instagram and Messenger. So it's an easy way to really support them.
Yeah, you never know where your post reach is going to go. So very interesting stuff. And resiliency, I mean, that is literally what all of these entrepreneurs and small business owners are really all about. And it sounds like then Facebook is doing its best then to highlight these folks and then also get more eyeballs on them. Do you have any advice then to maybe for anybody out there, a business owner, to maybe just try to get through these difficult times? Would you say get involved on the Facebook there?
Absolutely. Resilience is so important. And if any business owner has ever felt doubt or thought they couldn't keep their doors open or that they didn't have enough savvy to build a business, we say don't give in to those fears. That's why I created Elevate 3 years ago, so that we could give minority business owners the tools and the coaching and support that they could use that's culturally relevant for them as well. And so all of this is free. It was created by employees of color at Facebook for communities of color as well. So we say, please use these resources, use free first before you go and have to pay for them elsewhere.
Hey, I don't know a single human being who's not a fan of free. Irene, really do appreciate your time here today and breaking down this opportunity, at least for people to figure out as well, because these are businesses in our own local communities. So we're doing nothing but helping ourselves when we support them. So really do appreciate your time and take care, all right? Coming up on Better Western Mass, a nationally ranked arm wrestler, yeah, that's a thing, is taking a new holistic role in Springfield. This exclusive story when we come back. And we're headed to the salon, finding out how to embrace those pesky gray hairs. Oh, I need to tune in for this. Better Western Mass rolls on now when a nationally ranked arm wrestler has taken on a new role right here in Springfield. Our Western Mass News reporter Caleb Pugliese has the exclusive story of how he's channeling his energy into helping others live a healthier life.
Chris Scarappa is a national arm wrestling champion. He was an avid baseball player for most of his life, but when that chapter closed, a friend of his brought him into the realm of arm wrestling. He lost his first 2 matches and decided he never wanted to lose again. So he doubled his training and it paid off. But he says he wouldn't have been able to even participate in the sport if it wasn't for a specific substance.
Maybe 3 months later, I won my first tournament and it just took off from there. So, you know, competing all up and down the East Coast, out in California, Nevada, Indiana, I had a tournament at 2 years ago, and then started competing at the national level, and finished second right-handed and third left-handed.
Now he's taking on a holistic role, becoming the general manager of cannabis shop Liberty here in Springfield. Scarappa tells Western Mass News he was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when he was in high school and found cannabis to be the only real way to alleviate the pain.
They were trying all experimental medicines out on me, so, you know, they were giving me things that they would give leukemia patients, you know, just trying to slow my immune system down. Everything that they gave me made me feel awful.
That was until a friend of his introduced him to cannabis and CBD.
And I just found that, you know, out of anything that they were giving me, that seemed to be helping me the most. And that led me into the whole arm wrestling thing, because if it wasn't for that, I never would have been able to do it.
Now he's hoping to have a hand in others discovering similar benefits.
And one of the good things about me being a professional athlete and also working here is to help with the stigma. This is for everybody. This isn't, you know, for just a select few of people. It's like no matter what you do, you could really find benefit coming here.
And as for his arm wrestling career, it's not over yet. Next up is the World Championship in June.
I'm not going to stop until I'm a world champion. I mean, that's the goal.
Kaylee Pugliese, Western Mass News.
How about that? A local, well, soon-to-be national champion. We'll monitor that. Well, a local hair salon in Springfield is helping clients conceal those pesky gray hairs, surprisingly, by not dyeing them. Our own Jordan Jagelinzer is learning more about the new low-maintenance coloring trend.
At Gasoline Alley Salon in Springfield, they're embracing their clients' grays. Here's how.
She's got more of like a gray like patch, and she's young, and it's like she doesn't want to be in here every 6 weeks coloring it.
Stylist Ashley Murphy at Gasoline Alley Salon in Springfield is showing us how clients who have gray hairs can lessen their time at the salon.
We decided just to kind of blend in that gray patch that she has into like a muddy piece, a blonde in the front.
If you're a big Better Western Mass fan, you remember when we showed you the trendy money piece highlighting and framing the face.
You know, you have to kind of work with what you have have going on naturally.
Now Murphy is helping her clients blend their grays by adding highlights or lowlights around the area to soften their appearance.
Especially with like the pandemic, a lot of people were, going a really long time without being able to color their hair.
Which is why colorists have got creative and clients are loving the results, spending less time in the salon chair to hide their grays, which grow back quickly.
A lot of people tend to be, a lot brighter, have a lot more whites in the front. So you could always be a little bit more blonder in the front.
And if your hair is darker than the models, don't worry. There are solutions for brunettes.
You can always put in more of like a low light in there. So something to match maybe your natural dark brown hair, just to soften that grow out a little bit.
Start with a consultation to see how your stylist can work their magic. For Better Western Mass, I'm Jordan Jagalinzer.
That was cool, and I think it's a sign that my stylist is the one talking about grays. I'll see you next time, Ashley. Coming up on Better Western Mass, a California nursing home has found a way to connect family members who have been in isolation for a year. More on the Smile Maker station, plus a preview of tonight's episode of People TV. All right, welcome back, folks. Here's a look at what's coming up on tonight's new episode of People TV.
Tonight on People, Robin Wright makes her film directorial debut with Land. She also stars in the movie, which is out right now. I chatted with her, and here is a portion of tonight's One Last Thing.
Just want, there's the critics, the reviewers, then there's Dylan and Hopper. What'd they think? Last time they complimented you.
They loved this movie. They came out of the screening room just crying with joy and just saying, "Mom, what an accomplishment." And then I start weeping, of course, as a mother. She's like, "Oh, you're so sweet."
What's the last family vacation you guys all did? Have you ever done anything wildernessy like that?
Oh, constantly. When they were kids, we were always camping. So they are nature lovers as well.
The last thing you learned about yourself during COVID?
That I'm more impatient than I always knew.
Last meal you made?
This is Groundhog Day. I make the same thing every day, don't you? It's just like,
it's like a boring
again?
routine for sure. Yeah, what is yours?
It's like, what else can I do with chicken? That's where.
How about the last time you stopped and watched Forrest Gump?
The answer to that tonight on People.
All right, coming up on Better Western Mass, a one-of-a-kind pup is beating the odds, surviving with 6 legs and 2 tails. We'll introduce you to a skipper. And then as we send off to break, a look at your local steel deals.
I have, interestingly enough, one of my new favorite things. This is Calming Heat by Sharper Image, and it does so much more than a regular heating pad. And at first I thought, yeah. And then I tried it and I went, oh, yeah. So here's the deal. Number one, it's a heating pad, right? If you have aches and pains, you overdid it, your back, your shoulders, your knees, right? There's nothing better than a heating pad, but most heating pads just kind of sit there. This one drapes over and it has weight. It's filled with these weighted clay beads. So the heat really absorbs and you feel the heat so much more. It makes such a difference. And I love that. But it also has, wait for it, because here's the cool part, massage. Now I have 3 different settings for heat, 3 different settings for massage. And by the way, automatic timer turnoffs for the massage and the heat, so you're good with safety. Because of the fact that it's a great size, when you put it over your shoulder, it covers a lot of your shoulder. If you put it on your back, it covers a lot of your back. When I put it on my lap, down my legs when I'm watching TV, it covers a lot of space. So this is one of those things that can just be calming and soothing at the end of a long day, or just because it's that Zen moment when it's cold outside and you're toasty, warm, and massaged inside. It's Calming Heat by Sharper Image. I love the concept. And by the way, 20% off on localsteels.com.
All right, welcome back, folks. Time for some feel-good stories on this Tuesday afternoon. The Council on Aging in Southern California has created a new way for skilled nursing home residents to see and touch the family members they've been isolated from for a year. Oh no, look at this thing. It's called the Smile Maker Station, and it consists of plexiglass and openings for arms covered in plastic to allow for a hug. Rachel Lumbad burst into tears, she says, when she held her 72-year-old mother's hand for the first time since March. The council does have plans to make 25 more stations for things like that right there. All right, well, teachers in Berkeley, California, as we stay out west, are starting to get the COVID vaccine with some help from the city. Teachers say signing up to get appointments isn't easy, so the city of Berkeley is stepping in to make sure they're scheduled. San Mateo County is also working on getting teachers vaccinated, and they say the teachers need that so that the classrooms can reopen, despite what the CDC says. All right, well, a puppy named Skipper is surviving, get this, longer than veterinarians at an Oklahoma hospital have expected. That's because Skipper has 6 legs and signs of spina bifida, as well as 2 pelvic regions, 2 lower urinary tracts, and 2 tails. Basically double everything. Vets say the pup, born last Tuesday, is strong and healthy. It's also one of a kind. And now to Minnesota, where a man is searching for his late grandfather's missing 1945 hockey tournament state gold medal, ends up connected with another man who just happened to have a 1945 gold medal there from then. So John Millia responded to a tweet from this guy explaining that he had a medal from the tournament. And Millia says he was happy to hand it over in honor of his grandfather. So how about that? The internet isn't too bad after all. Hope better made you feel that way. I'll catch you again tomorrow, everybody. Take care.